In our presentation today, we chose to do virtual reality and math education. So what is virtual reality? VR is when an artificial environment is created digitally to make the user feel as if it were real. Virtual reality is typically used in video games where you wear a headset to be a character in the artificial world. And the first VR can be seen in 1957 when Morton Heilig created a device called the Sensorama. And then the second one was in 1968 where it was the first official VR headset made by Ivan Sutherland and Bob Sproul. So how is it used? In education, VR allows students to experience destinations from across the world without ever having to leave the classroom. And then in math, virtual reality enables visual learners to see how abstract math concepts work in a 3D environment, which makes it much easier to understand and retain information. So in the education portion, it can be used to immerse students in an educational environment such as like a rainforest for science, or they could visit historical landmarks for history. And in math, as stated, we can use 3D environments to show geometric shapes or place students in a world of math that helps them grasp the concept easier. Now, how can it help? Virtual reality in the classroom can help in 8 ways. Students learn better through experience. VR can inspire students and encourage students to think creatively and spark imagination. It promotes peer interaction in the classroom. It engages students in a new teaching method. It can provide a realistic travel experience. It is very inclusive in the classroom, and overall, it offers an educational experience. So how does it help students learn math? It improves spatial cognition in students, and spatial cognition is how people acquire and use knowledge based on their environment. It helps to explain measuring distance, directionality, and map skills. And it gives students a visual for their shapes and helps them understand what they look like in space. So how can we help teachers with VR? Teachers need support when learning new technology, especially one as daunting as virtual reality. And since not all teachers are tech savvy, we can offer connections for teachers to talk to experts to learn the material and share wisdom with other teachers who are also learning the technology. Like as stated in other presentations, they can use Facebook groups, they can use Pinterest, they can use the internet, and we can provide multiple resources for VR technology and do the research ourselves before implementing them into the school systems so the teachers can know the benefits and the disadvantages of the VR reality. The effects of VR in the classroom can be seen in the 3 following points. A skill learning test study found that adaptation and origination levels were affected positively. Alternatively, perception levels were negatively affected in the same study. And this shows that not every child is guaranteed to learn through VR, but a different study also found that it boosted learning motivation and their academic achievement, which in turn excites the students and allows for a good educational environment overall. So some of the negatives of the VR in the classroom can be human interaction. It completely cuts it off, and VR is usually just the students and the software, which leaves no room for human interaction. And interaction with teachers is very essential, so we have to be careful with how much usage we put of VR in the classroom. And the second one is functionality issues. Just like any technology, it is susceptible to malfunctions, and it leads to disruption in lesson plans, which could alter the course of how you want to teach your students. And the final one is that it's costly. Newer technology is expensive, and not every school or family can afford it. So it is difficult to obtain, especially for schools that don't have too much funding to begin with. Now, we had 4 points of what we thought of it. We think that VR is a great way to immerse students in learning. It is a great way to visualize what you're actually learning. And virtual reality is a great innovation, but it's expensive. And the last point is it could put some students at a disadvantage if they're not tech savvy or have the money for it, along with teachers who aren't as tech savvy. So for our conclusion, virtual reality is when an artificial environment is created digitally to make the user feel as if they were really there. In math, VR helps visual learners to see and learn math concepts and makes them easier to understand and retain. We believe virtual reality in math education is a great innovation and will help students who learn differently than others.